showed up at the garage today to fix an exhaust leak on my Infinity, but I decided to take some time out and show you guys the cluster in the Lexus. I know I posted about it a while back, and a few people seemed interested in learning on what I did. So, in the SC community, I feel like a lot of people have cluster issues. Most of the time, people have burnt out needles or the light bulbs go bad in them. So, personally, on mine, my cluster was fine. But another issue that you could run into is that if you swap a Nissan transmission into your car, your speedo stops working because you can't plug in your vehicle speed sensor anymore. So that's what happened to me. So there are other actions you can take when you have this issue. My boy Mitesh, he decided to use a GPS adapter to plug into the factory cluster, and he got his speedo working that way. I decided to take a different route and rebuild my cluster completely because I felt like the factory cluster looked a little outdated and I wanted a more modern look. So I went with the company Speedhut gauges. I had seen a picture online with a car. I think it was a Supra and it had Speedhut gauges in it, and I was like, wow, those gauges look really cool. So I took a look at their website.
And I saw all the type of gauges they have. So you can see here they are different styles of gauges. So they change the way they look. They have different types of gauges from air fuel, boost, clocks, speedometers, pressure gauges, temperature gauges, voltage. They have a bunch of different sizes you can see here. And they even have combo gauges that have multiple gauges in one. So I chose Revolution, is what I have on my car as a style. And here you can see they have, different type of speedometers. So you can get the speedometer like solo, or you could get the one with the dual gauges that have tachometers built into them. And here's all the other gauges under the Revolution lineup, so you could get them to match. I had chose the regular 4-inch speedo up to 160 miles per hour, the 8000 tack, and the combo gauge with the 4 gauges in one. So another thing you could do that I didn't do, or maybe if I decide to build another cluster, you select your gauge here. So you could customize them individually, and you could change the fonts, which I think is pretty cool. Go back, you could do the color, so the little ticks, and even the background too. And if you have multiple gauges in your cart, once you customize one, you could click apply to all gauges. So that way they all match and you don't have to worry about making a mistake and having one look different than the other. You can even change the pointer color. And they have dual colors. So there's one color in the daytime, and then there'll be another color in the night. So this one's the same, day or night, it's red. But then if we choose this one, day it's white, night it's blue. You could also add an image if you want. I think you could import an image also. You could upload your logo. We could put an F90 logo if you wanted to, or whatever logo you would want.
So you can see here, this is my setup. Along with the Speedhut gauges, I have a AEM boost and air fuel ratio gauge. I had bought those before I decided to switch over to Speedhut, so I felt no need to buy the Speedhut one, so I just rock those for now. So you can see here, I have pretty much everything that I need to keep track of. So in terms of turn signal, high beam indicator, reverse lights, and check engine light, ABS light, I had thought of that also. So you can see here I have turn signal indicators. Some of the Speedhut gauges also have that built into the gauge, so you could get a tach or a speedometer with built-in turn signal indicators also if you wanted to go that route. Since I wanted other LEDs, so you can see right here, I have one that's supposed to be hooked up to the check engine light, but it's not right now. This one's going to be hooked up to a brake light, and then this one was also, that's my reverse indicator. So when I'm in reverse, that one will come on. So assume you guys know how to take your cluster off, or you would have to, I would have to take these gauges off and then pull this panel out, and then there's a screw here and one on that side, and then below this panel there should be one in each corner as well. So once you have the lower panel and the screws out of the way, you can pull your cluster out. I'm not going to pull mine completely out. This here should be good enough. So you're going to see there's a screw here, and there should be screws here and another screw here on yours, since if you first time taking it out. I just happen to probably lose mine. I don't know why they're not in there. But anyway, so this is the lens in the front. This, I guess you call it like a shroud. And then on the back here is where you see these screws all around this, be holding in the back part, which is the factory cluster. So what I decided to do is remove that back half of the whole cluster assembly off, which is the part with the gauges, and then I took, so you can see here, this is like 1/8 or 1/16 ABS plastic. I just bought a couple sheets off Amazon, and I basically cut it into the shape of the back of the cluster shroud, and then I just used some screws here to hold the piece of ABS plastic to the shroud, and then I used a 4-inch hole saw for the gauges because my gauges happen to be 4-inch. If you decide to buy 3.5 gauges or any other size, you just get the appropriate hole cutting tool. So then the gauges, they just slip right in from the front, and then this is like a lock ring that you would just tighten to hold it snug. And then here you could see my turn signal LED. So to wire the gauges in, they all need power. So the speedometer, basically that's all it needs, because then there's a GPS box hooked up to it, which is tucked behind in the dash. Then for the tach, it also needs power and a tach signal. So for the tach signal, I ran a wire going through the firewall, and you can see here, this car has a 1J in it, but I believe all the cars have the igniter in this location. So the 1UZ igniter was here, and I believe the SC300 should be in the same spot. So there's going to be a wire off one of these harnesses. I tapped into it. I think it's this red one. I tapped into it here. You're going to have to look up the exact wiring diagram, figure out which one it is. But that's going to be your tach signal. So that wire is run directly to the cluster. Then for the combination gauge, once you run it to power, the voltage is going to be hooked up automatically. Then for a water temperature, it comes with its own sensor for you to use. So if you look here, you'll see this is the factory harness plug for the factory cluster's water temperature gauge. It doesn't use the same one. This green one is what goes to the ECU, and then this one right here, there was already a hole here for the factory cluster sensor. I took that out and I put this one, and then this runs all the way through the hole on the firewall there by the ECU to the back of the cluster. So that's how I get water temperature signal. And then for oil pressure, I removed my AC compressor, so it's hard to see. So you can see this wire right here. I think on the factory cluster there is a oil pressure switch. So when the oil pressure becomes basically 0, that would send that signal to turn that light on, saying you have no oil. So that's a 1/8 NTP. So I just plugged the sensor that came with the gauge into that same hole, and then I ran the wires through the firewall and back to the cluster. So now that I covered tach signal, battery voltage, water temp, oil pressure, speedometer, I think fuel was the only one left. So fuel, and also the turn signals and reverse sensor, and if you're gonna run one for your check engine light and other ABS light, brake light. I don't have. I think you can see it too well in here. It looks, from here, it just looks like a mess. But if you Google, you could find the wiring diagram for the cluster, and from there you'll be able to see which pins on that harness goes to what. So which one is the left turn signal, which one is the right turn signal, which one is the reverse light, which one is the check engine light. And basically you would just ground all those other LEDs and then run the power wire to the appropriate pin on that harness, so those lights will come on when they need to be. So for the fuel level sender, you're gonna need to connect the wire on the back of the gauge to one of those connectors for the factory harness, and it's gonna basically use resistance to know where the fuel level is at. So there's instructions with the Speedhut gauges will explain it better than I can. And basically, once you connect that wire, get in the car, you'll see that there's this button right here, and these are the programmable buttons. So these gauges have options, just two here. See, there's one there. So on this one, basically on how long you hold it down or how many taps you give it, you can program each one of these. So for the fuel gauge, basically you'd have to look up what the Toyota uses as their ohm range for the fuel level sender and program that into the thing. So you just have to program what resistance is empty and what resistance is full, and then it'll figure out where you're at from there. So if you take one more look, you can see there are some little LEDs built into the gauges also. They're not lit up, they just look lit up with the reflection of the needles lighting up on camera. So these LEDs here are basically shift lights, so that as the RPM climbs, these will climb, and you could totally program that to whatever you want, so they come on when you want. So now that it has a actual GPS signal, it shows you have the regular odometer, so I'm saying 72, and then I have a triple odometer, so I'm at 1300. And if you hold it down, you could reset that. But if you press it once, you could cycle through. So right now I could get the time if I want. I guess it's trying to calculate elevation. I don't know how accurate it is because it's jumping around right now. Now we have here is a digital mile per hour, so if you don't want to use your needle, it'll tell you a number. You do direction, then you can see the peak. So since I've had the cluster in here, the fastest I've been is only 137. So I could do a 0 to 60 calculation if I want. So I guess I would put it on this mode, then press and hold the stage, and then when I take off, it'll give me my 0 to 60 time. I could do a quarter mile time. And I guess that's just some info on the gauge itself. It's a little hard to see. Then I'm back to trip. Well, this is the cluster. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's definitely one of the best mods I've done to the Lexus. Definitely gets everybody's attention that sees it, and it totally updates the interior of the car. I'm happy with it. I know a lot of people might be bummed out that they don't have the original odometer, but I guess it's up to you if that's something. If you want to do this to your car, that's what you have to do.